Hello, I'm going to share with you a very efficient way of creating a level map for your game. And we're in Blender 2.79. You could also do the same thing in 2.80. What we're going to do here initially is start off with the cube that is in the default scene. And we are going to take that cube and we're going to move it upwards by 1 unit. In other words, we're going to run the grab command and we are going to specify that we want to grab and move it in the Z direction by 1 unit. To perform this action, we're going to press G for grab. We're going to be pressing Z. So we're going to press G and then Z. And you can see the axis over there of constraint comes up. And then we're going to press 1 and then enter. So that's G, Z, 1, and enter. And now we have our cube that we're going to be using here as the fundament for our level map. And we have it sitting on the, if you want to call it, the floor, that visual depiction right there of the XY plane. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this cube into edit mode by tabbing, pressing the tab key. We'll deselect everything with the A key. And we're going to go down here and we're going to select the face select mode, putting it in face select. Let's go ahead and use 2 fingers on the trackpad and go ahead and rotate our camera here a little bit, our view of the scene. And let's go ahead and right click on this face with 2 fingers on the trackpad. What we'll do next is we'll extrude by pressing E and then drag one finger on the trackpad. We'll drag out to right here and we'll click. And then we are going to go ahead and grab this and move it up. So G, Z, and then we can just move our finger on the trackpad up. And then we're going to click once more. 2 fingers on the trackpad to rotate it around over to here. Pinch in on the trackpad to zoom out a little bit. And we'll do E for extruding, and then we will pull on the trackpad with 1 finger. And then we will click, and then we will select this side with a right click. That's 2 fingers on the trackpad. We'll press E to extrude out. We'll click. 2 fingers on the trackpad to rotate around. And then we'll do 2 fingers on the trackpad to right click this face and go E, extrude this out. And this is the basic pattern we're going to follow here. What we're going to do now is we're going to, with this face selected, we're going to go to Mesh, Edges, Subdivide, and do that again. Mesh, Edges, Subdivide. So we did that twice. Okay. What we're going to do now is we are going to press A to deselect everything. We're going to go into, if we go to right view, if you press 3 on the numpad's right view, if you press 1, that's front view. I guess we'll go to 1, that's front view. And we'll go into orthographic mode with 5. 1 and then 5. We'll press Shift, alternate, click and drag to center our model. Then we're going to go ahead and grab these, or we're going to go select these faces with box select. So I'm going to press B, and we'll box select just these faces right in here. Go ahead and go down to Mesh, Clean Up, Limited Dissolve, and we'll dissolve those faces into 1 right there. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude out. So we'll press E and drag out to extrude. And then we're going to go up. So we're going to go G, Z, and drag that up. And then we'll zoom out a little bit more. Then we're going to go E to extrude out. Right there. Maybe I'll go a little further. And then we are going to go into, let's see, if we go to 1, no, let's go to 3, side view. Let's go to the other way. Let's go to Shift 3. And if we go over here to, let's go to 1 again. I want to go to what? I want to pretty much, yeah, I want to work from this side right here. So this is 2 and 5 in orthographic mode right there. I'm going to go and select these with over here, box select, B, box select these over here. Just got those faces. I got some extra faces here. I forgot to deselect that. Let me deselect this by going Shift and right clicking, so I only have the faces over here. And then we're going to go ahead and go Mesh, Edges, Subdivide again. And let's take a look at that and then do it one more time. Mesh, Edges, and Subdivide once more. And let's deselect everything by pressing A. And let's go ahead and go zoom in a little bit here, Shift, alternate, and drag over. And let's just box select these faces over here. It's B, box select these. And now we got these. Make sure that's all we got. And then we're going to extrude out a hallway over to that direction. We're going to go E, extrude that out. Maybe there's good. And zoom out a little bit. And then we'll go E again to extrude out, and at this point let's go ahead and tilt down a little bit, zoom in, Shift, alternate, drag over. Let's go ahead and just select these faces right in here with the box select. So let's go from here to here, box select. Did we get the top two? Yeah, we did. So we got a little bit more than what we wanted. Let's going to go Command Z. Let me unselect everything first with A. Let me go back down here. Try to look at it dead on and go box select and get just the faces that I want on that side. So I got just what I wanted right there. And I might as well, while I'm at it, go clean up, limited dissolve. And then we're going to go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to go E, extrude that out. And I think that's fine. I'm going to go out of ortho mode by pressing 5 and take a look at the map that we've created here. So it's basically two large rooms and some hallways connecting them. What we're going to do next is we're going to clean up the geometry a little bit more. I'm just going to go ahead and just box Z to wireframe mode and B, box select the entire mesh that's in edit mode. Now we're going to go ahead down here and go to Mesh, Clean Up, and run the limited dissolve on it. That's cleaned up the mesh considerably. We're going to go back out of wireframe mode by pressing Z, back into solid rendering mode. And now that we have that done, we're ready to apply a couple materials here. So we can go over to the right side panel, and we can go to the materials section by clicking on the material section button. And we're just going to go ahead and name this first slot over here, first material slot. Let's just call this, I don't know, walls. This will be the walls underscore ceiling underscore material. Let's just call it that. And we'll set the diffuse color for that to be maybe a kind of a grayish blue. And then we're going to go ahead and add another material slot over here, and we're going to add a new material that's in that slot, and we're going to call that floor, F-L-O-O-R underscore material. And there we have, so a floor material, and we're going to set the color for that to be, let's just say, kind of like a, maybe, something a little bit different. It doesn't really matter what the color is, we just want to make sure that you have this idea that we can set materials for different faces. So I'm just going to set it to that, maybe a kind of like that greenish color there. Maybe if I change it to HSV, then I can actually also look at changing the value to be more muted. So maybe that will be decent, yeah. So I've just changed the way I'm expressing the color here as an HSV color. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over on the right. I'm going to select all the floor areas. So I'm going to make sure I deselect everything by pressing A, deselect. Then I'm going to select this by selecting the floor right over there. I'm going to go over, make sure I select over here, Shift, right select, holding the Shift down, just selecting all of the floor areas. Make sure I get all the floor areas. Okay, yep, I think I got it all. I think that's all the floor. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to assign it. I'm going to go click on floor material, and then click assign. Now let's look under there. Now we can see if I go press A to deselect everything. Now we have the two different colors. We have the floor color. Now I could even change this material on the fly. I can change this to maybe a better fit color. I can change the change the value of it. I can make it however I want it, right? So the idea here is that this is going to be a different color based upon whatever, right? So it's obviously that I have a different color for the floor and I have a different color for the walls and ceiling. Now you can apply this basic same technique and you can select whatever faces you want and apply materials to those faces. In the future, if you decide to use anything other than basic diffuse colors and you're going to use something like, let's say, image textures or so forth, then at the very end it would be better for you to learn how to do texture baking, where you would do an unwrapping do a UV map, and then you would do texture baking. But we're not going to get to that point here. We're just going to focus on adding different materials for different faces and just using basic diffuse color. So with that being done, we're almost done here. We're going to go ahead and select this all. And so to do that, I'm going to go ahead and put it in Z. First of all, wireframe mode by pressing Z. I'm going to do box select this whole thing. So I select that whole thing, and we're going to go to mesh. Well, let's say even before I do that, let me scale it. Let me scale it by a factor of 4. I find that a factor of 4 is good for what we're doing for our game engine. So let's just go ahead and go S4, enter. So we want to scale it by a factor of 4. Now that we've done that, we can see it's kind of like, so what we're going to do, I'm going to say that this is going to be my spawn point down here. So I'm going to actually move that over to where, close to where 0, 0 is. See, if I do that, such as that, then I can kind of, in the game, I can expect, no, I need to look at this. I didn't have it quite the way I wanted. Okay, actually. So I want to go and check, look at different angles, make sure you kind of have it. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, I could put the face at the origin. I could actually go click on that one face and go right to the origin. But just so it's kind of close there for right now. Right there. That's the idea. So, you know, we can make it better. But for right now, let's just kind of say that, think where your spawn point's going to be for your player to spawn in. Kind of put that down where that origin point is. And after you've rescaled it, right? So what we're going to do after you've rescaled it is go ahead and go mesh, normals, flip the normals. This is very important to flip the normals. Go ahead and press Z again. With the normals flipped, it's very important to understand we do this. I'm going to get out of orthographic mode by pressing. Well, I was out of it. With the normals flipped, now this is going to render the inside of these paper thin. This is like paper thin modeling here. So this is a really quick way to model. It's presuming that we don't want to have all kind of detail outside. And we're just basically going to be on the inside of this model. So we need to flip the normals. Now I'm going to go ahead and deselect everything with A. See, we still got our different colors there for the floor. I'm going to go ahead and I can save this for later. So go File, Save As, and I'm just going to call this level example, level underscore example, and I'll save that in my models folder as a Blender file. Excuse me. Next things what I will do is I will export that as a GLB file, and I'll set level example GLB, and I'll put that on my desktop, I guess. Export that to my desktop. So now I have that GLB file on my desktop. The next thing to do is to go ahead and put that into a remix. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into a game remix now to show you how to take it to that next step. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead into the browser, go over here, and just go ahead and do bit.ly/cs1-remix, bit.ly cs1-remix, and here we are going to remix our game engine kind of starter project. And what we're going to do here is go into the assets, and we will add that. Go ahead and add asset. We'll upload that model, that level example. So we're going to upload that level example right in there. And we still didn't add an admin key or anything. We're just going to use this temporarily to get our new map. So a level example, I'm going to go copy the URL. Now I'm going to go in another tab and go to bit.ly navmesh 207, and we'll make a navmesh for this thing. So there we go. I'm going to paste the navmesh into here, hit enter, or paste the URL to the scene in there, to our level, and here we are. Boom. Look at that. And see how it renders a little bit weird because we've flipped the normals, but that's exactly what we want. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can kind of get a picture of. It looks a little awkward because of the fact that it's kind of inside out rendering. You know, the inside is getting, the floors and the inside is getting rendered, but that's exactly what we want. Now we're going to build a nav mesh. I'm going to set the agent radius. I forget what I had it set to for the dragon model. So I'm going to actually go back and look over here what I set it to. 2.2. 2.2 was the agent radius. I wrote that down as part of this last model. So I'm going to go set the agent radius to 2.2. You can set it, this is only so big, this is only 2.2 because specifically I have a dragon model there with big wings and a big wingspan, so I don't want the wings to get clipped into the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and run a build on that. And look at that. It makes the nav mesh, doesn't quite do everything yet, because if you look over there, if I'll go over here on the left and I'll make the level disappear. So it doesn't have the complete level. The nav mesh looks pretty good, except I'm missing, right? I'm missing this one section over here I'm missing. That's because it's a little steeper than 30 degrees for the max slope. So I'm going to bring that up to maybe 35 and see if that will grab it. 35, just about. There's a little, let me see. Yeah, that actually works. 35 works there, actually. So 35 got us what we needed there for that nav mesh. Now our nav mesh looks good. Let's export the nav mesh. There is the nav mesh getting exported. I'm going to rename this according to what this says, level example nav mesh. So I'm going to name it the same way. So I'm going to go and show this in my Finder. I'm going to change this over here from navmesh 22 to level underscore example underscore nav mesh. And then I'll just go ahead and put it into my assets now that I have that. We'll have to check the spawn points and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that out and go into my assets and drag that nav mesh in here. I could also edit the nav mesh. I could export it as a GLB as well rather than just a GLTF. With the nav mesh, it's not going to make too much of a difference. In terms of the size, it's only 9 kilobytes. It's not bad. Go ahead and copy that. For the nav mesh, go into the index.html. Let's take a look over here in the index.html. I'm going to clean out a lot of things in this default project. So the scene model, I actually have the navmesh, so I'm going to replace the navmesh URL here. The next thing I will do is I will replace the scene model URL. I'll go to the assets and I will get the level example, copy that, go back to the index HTML, and I will use that URL in here for the scene model. We will have to do some cleanup here for sure. I am going to get rid of all this other stuff right now. So I just have the empty. So I'm going to go everything from that plane the whole way down here to what? Everything down to stop right above the player. I'm just going to get rid of all that. This, I might already just clean everything out at the beginning for you. So you don't even have to get rid of those collectibles and stuff. So that's pretty much what we want. Then we'll have to do some adjustment once we test this out. So we got the scene model in there. We got the nav mesh. Got that dragon avatar. So let's go see how it works. Well, I actually have to put in a key. I'm just going to make a generic key here for the admin key. Do not use lame admin keys like that. All right? But for right now, I'm just going to use that as an admin key. And over here, I'm going to go and show live, and let's go see what happens. See where it spawns at. It's not going to be in the right place, obviously. I'm just going to go admin, log in with the admin key. All right. I'm going to see if this...
Welcome to CS1 Agency Headquarters.
All right.
The question of whether a computer can think is no more interesting than the question of whether a submarine can swim.
All right, so see if, once I get in there, see if the nav mesh actually starts to take hold. And it looks like it does. Look, see, it looks like the nav mesh is now working. But I'm just spawned in the, not the right spot. But we can see here also the lighting makes it kind of hard to tell what is what. So I'm going around these hallways here into that upper room, if you will. Here's that upper room opening up. No. So we have, this is working very nicely, except right now we don't have any kind of point lights that would make this render. When you just have these basic colors, such as the floor color and the ceiling and walls, it's going to have that every single, right? Every single face is going to have just that one single color on it, unless we start to go down right here. That's where we came from. So it works fine. We're just not spawned at the right spot. And we need some different lighting. So let's go ahead and address that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the inspector with Control Option I. This is in Chrome. I'm on a Mac as well. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom out here a little bit in the inspector, kind of get a feel for, I think I have the player in the right spot right now, but let me go ahead and, so I'm actually down below, because I set that down 4, so maybe that didn't. So I could probably just go back, and maybe if I set that at 0, that would be better, since I already kind of had it in the right spot. So if I go back over here, kind of just talking aloud here, just doing it. See, I'll have this -4 and -5. If I put this scene model at 0, and I put the mesh at -1. Let's see how that works. Right? So I have the nav mesh actually a little bit lower than the scene model. And we can kind of adjust those. It will give you a different, kind of change your perspective of how you're looking at things above the ground. So you want to play with those positioning a little bit, the Y positioning sometimes. And then also in the player down here, you can also change this value for the Y value of the camera to kind of lift it up above the ground more as well. So those are things that you would consider when you're first setting up your scene and your level, to kind of put the camera at the right height above the floor and maybe offset a little bit vertically the nav mesh from the model. Now that you just play with those and find what works for you. Let me go back in and refresh this, and let's see what happens. Let's go back into this. All right, so let me go ahead in here. All right, that level looks better.
Welcome to CS1 Agency Headquarters.
So let me see this.
See
See if it grabs right here at the beginning.
More interesting than the question of whether a submarine can swim.
That looks good. It's grabbing quickly. Going into that, like I said, we still haven't dealt with this obvious rendering issue with the inside of the actual level map. It looks it's hard to tell where you're going and what's what. But once we get some other lights in here, get a few different lights in this world, it will render the shadows, and the lights will make it easier to tell what's going on in this world. We could also, of course, do this in Blender, and we could put lights in Blender and bake shadows to help make it easier to tell what's going on. But that's decent. We can see our map working so far. Let's go ahead and add a few point lights in here. So we're down to the beginning, the spawning point. So let's find out where this is at exactly. So I have the player right here. This is where I'd like the player to spawn. So let me just go ahead and put the player right there. This is where I want the player to spawn. So I'm going to go Control, Option I, open up the inspector. Once the inspector opens up here, we're going to go ahead and let me just close that. We're going to go ahead and zoom out so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. And I'm going to drag this to get a different perspective. Let me click on the My Player entity, and we can see that's right where we want the player to spawn. Matter of fact, we can have it spawn a little bit back from there. So let's go ahead and just drag the player back a little bit from there. So right there would be probably a good place to spawn. And then we can literally just look at that position. That position is up here, negative 1.4, 1, 0.12. So negative 1.44, 1, 0.12. So we can go back in here and go and change that on the player. So on the player, so we can go change the position right over here where it has the position values. We can just look at that again. It's negative 1.44. So negative 1.44. And then the second number was 1, just straight up 1. And then the third coordinate, the z coordinate, is 0.12. 0.12. And now we've repositioned the player for spawning to an appropriate place. Now we can start adding a light. So let's go over here in the inspector, and let's go click on the scene up at the top. Click on the scene, and we're going to click. We're going to add. Click Add a New Entity, and in that entity that we add, we're going to add a. If we drag down here further, we can find where we get a light. We can add a light. And now we can go ahead and move that around and change the type of the light. So if we go down to the type, it's set as directional initially. And then the direction set by the rotation of it. Over here we have we basically can change the way it's pointed based on the rotation up here. So let's just go over here first of all and identify this is the entity that was just spawned in. Let's lift that up so we can see the light already starting to work. Start to see the effect of that light. Let's rotate it a little bit on the y-axis, and let's run that value up. See if that's changing much. Let's go ahead and change this to like 30. Whoops. Is that affecting our illumination at all? So that rotation on the actual entity is not really affecting much in terms of what we're seeing. So let's just keep that at 0. Let's lift this up a little bit more. This is a directional light. And let's just jump into the world. Let's just see what adding a directional light like that does. Directional light is a lot lower cost than, let's say, say something like a point light. Point light's going to give us more detail in the shadowing that it's going to provide and the illumination. So let's go ahead and jump into that next. And I have to stop this recording, have somebody coming over here.